Okay, real talk. I open LinkedIn these days and it's basically a horror movie for programmers. Every week there is another headline. AI writes code 10 times faster than humans. Company X replaced 200 developers with AI agents. Is your job safe? And I get it. I felt that too. But here is the thing. I've been writing code for 8 years now. I've been through the outsourcing will kill your job panic. Then the no-code tools will kill your job panic. And now we are in the AI panic. And I'm still here, still employed, still getting offers. So today I want to sit down with you and actually talk about this. Not with fake reassurance like, don't worry, AI will create new jobs. That's not useful. I want to give you the real practical things I've done and still do that make me genuinely hard to replace. These are things I learned from mistakes, some of them pretty embarrassing, and from 2 books that genuinely changed how I work. And yes, one of them involves a conversation with my product owner where I got told something I didn't want to hear. Let's get into it. Feel free to hit the like button now so you don't forget, and if the video doesn't help you by the end, you can always remove it. Alright, let me start with the one that hit me hardest personally. Early in my career, I was just trying to ship features, get the task done, tick the box, move on. And my stuff worked, mostly. It worked when you used it, the happy path, in good conditions. But the moment someone tried something slightly unusual, bugs everywhere. One day my product owner pulled me aside, not in a mean way, but direct. He said, I have noticed you are producing a lot of bugs lately, more than the rest of the team. And I remember that moment vividly because I felt defensive at first, like I'm writing code. Of course there are bugs, but he wasn't done. He said, you need to care not just that it works, but how it works. That sentence stuck with me. Think of it like this. Imagine you hired a plumber to fix your sink. He fixes it, you pay him, he leaves. 2 days later, the sink leaks again because he did the minimum to make it to look fixed. You would never call that plumber again, right? A good plumber fixes it properly. That's it. That's the whole analogy. In code, that means thinking through edge cases before you are done. What if the user sends empty input? What if the API is slow? What if someone uses this on mobile? Testing your own stuff before the QA team has to. Acting like you're the last line of defense, because honestly, sometimes you are. The programmers who stay employed long term are the ones whose code you can trust. When your name is on a feature, it should mean something. One of the books I keep recommending to every developer I meet is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Covey. Most people pick up one habit from it and forget the rest. The one I use every single day is habit 1. Be proactive. What does that actually mean in a dev context? It means you don't wait to be told what to do next. You look at the sprint, you see a potential problem coming 3 tickets ahead, and you mention it now. It means when your tech lead asks who can look into the weird performance issue, you raised your hand, even when it's not your area. I've seen developers who are technically brilliant but completely passive. They do their ticket and close it, nothing more. And when layoffs happen, weirdly, they are often the first ones let go. Not because of skill, but because the team couldn't really feel them there. Be present, be visible, be the person who cares. The second book is Atlas Shrugged. Totally different vibe, but the core lesson I took from it is this. Whatever task you are given, even the boring CRUD ticket, even the legacy code nobody wants to touch, do it as well as you possibly can. Okay, this one is about meetings. And I know nobody loves meetings. but they are unavoidable. So you might as well show up as the smartest person in the room. Here is what I used to do. I join a grooming session or a planning call completely cold. The tech lead or business analyst would explain the feature. I'd nod along and then I'd think, yeah, that makes sense, and move on. Then I'd start implementing it a week later and hit 15 questions I hadn't thought to ask. Now I need another meeting, which annoys people, which makes me look scattered, not great. What I do now? The night before any feature discussion, I open a notes file and I actually think through the implementation. Not code, just logic. What are the main flaws? What could go wrong? Who does this affect? What are the extreme cases? And you know what happens? I walk into the call with a list of real specific questions. Questions that impress people because they show I've thought about it. Business analysts love it. Tech leads love it. It makes you look senior even when you are not. The analogy here is simple. Imagine going to the doctor and the doctor doesn't ask you anything about your symptoms. Just prescribes something and sends you home. That's a bad doctor. A good doctor asks every relevant question first, then gives you the right answer. Be the good doctor. This one sounds boring, but it's not. Let me describe a situation that has happened to every single developer at least once. Someone explains to you how to do a specific process, maybe how to deploy the staging environment, maybe how to set up the local database, maybe some custom company workflow that isn't documented anywhere. You understand it perfectly in that moment. 3 months later, you need to do it again, and you remember nothing. So you ask the same person again, and they explain it again. And they're professional about it, but inside they are mildly annoyed. I started keeping a personal notes file for exactly this stuff, step by step. Every time I learn a non-obvious process, I write it down. How to run the full test suite locally. First, do this. Second, do this. Sounds tedious, but 3 months later, when I need it again, I open the file in 10 seconds instead of disturbing a colleague for 10 minutes. Think of it like cooking. The first time you make a new recipe, you focus hard, look everything up. If you write down your own notes, use less salt, bake 5 extra minutes, next time it's easy. If you don't, you are Googling from scratch again every time. People who document their own work are people you can trust to work independently. And people who work independently without needing constant hand-holding, those are the ones who keep their jobs. Here is something I figured out around year 3 or 4. Writing good code is not enough to be valuable. Anyone can write code. ChatGPT writes code now. What AI cannot do, at least not yet, is deeply understand your specific business, your specific users, and all the weird, not obvious rules your domain has built up over years. So I made a point of learning the business, not just the tech side. What does the company actually sell? Who uses this product and why? What regulations apply? What are the business rules that seem strange but exist for real reason? When I started asking those questions, something changed. I stopped being just a person who implements tickets. I became someone the product team actually wanted in the room. Because I could say, wait, this new feature conflicts with this other rule we have, before we build the wrong thing. Know your domain. It's one of the best career moves you can make. Alright, let's talk about the elephant in the room. AI. Look, I am going to be direct. If you are not using AI tools now, you are doing yourself a disservice. That's just reality. And I know some people push back on this. But What if I lose my coding skills? I hear that, but think about calculators. When calculators became common, did mathematicians become worse at math? No. The good ones used the calculator for arithmetic and spent their brain power on harder problems. That's exactly how I use AI. I use AI to write boilerplate. I use it to explain code I don't understand. I use it to generate tests. I use it to brainstorm solutions. Then I review, I adjust, I apply my domain knowledge, my understanding of our codebase, my judgment. The programmers who get replaced by AI are the ones whose only value was writing the boilerplate. If that's the main thing you bring to work, yes, that's a risk. But if you are the person who understands the business, asks the right questions, reviews AI output critically, and makes the actual decisions, AI makes you faster, not obsolete. AI is a power tool. A hammer doesn't replace a carpenter. It makes a good carpenter unstoppable. I have a Udemy business subscription from my company. I use it a lot. And I'll be honest, I didn't for the first couple of years. I thought, I'm learning on the job, that's enough. But, well, it's not. Technologies change, and more importantly, the market tells you what's valuable right now in a way that nothing else does. Here is a trick I actually use. I open job listings, not because I'm looking to leave, but because a job listing for a senior developer is basically a shopping list of skills the market is willing to pay for. I look at the requirements, I check off what I already know, then I look at what I don't know and appears in multiple listings. That's my next course. You are using the market's data to guide your learning. Efficient. I also sometimes build a small pet project with a new technology. A to-do list, a simple API, anything. Because reading about something and actually building something with it are completely different levels of understanding. One you forget in a week, the other you remember. This one surprises people. I'm saying, go to interviews, even if you like your job, even if you are not planning to leave. Here is why. Interviews are the best benchmark you have for your actual market value. Your team might think you are great, but is it because you are genuinely skilled or because you are the best one on that specific team? Interviews at other companies answer that question honestly. I have done this a few times. The first time I did it, I discovered there were whole areas of computer science that I had huge gaps in. Algorithms, system design that I hadn't touched in years because my day-to-day work didn't require them. That's dangerous. You don't want to find out on the day you actually need a new job. Think of it like a fire drill. Nobody schedules a fire drill on the day of an actual fire. You practice when things are safe. Then, when the real emergency comes, you're not panicking. You know exactly what to do. Go do a few interviews a year. It's uncomfortable. Do it anyway. Small one, but important. Most companies have all-hands meetings, town halls, quarterly updates, whatever they call them. A lot of developers treat this as optional background noise. I get it. They can feel detached from your actual work. But I always show up and I actually pay attention. Because the company is always telling you something in those meetings. Where it's investing, what new products are coming, what departments are growing, what's struggling. If you are paying attention, you can see 6 months ahead where the team is going, and you can position yourself in front of that wave instead of behind it. Here is the analogy. A sailor who pays attention to weather forecast doesn't get caught in storms as often. You have the forecast. Use it. Okay, I almost left this one out because it sounds like something your mom would say, but it genuinely matters, so I'm including it. We sit all day staring at screens. Our bodies were not built for this. I had a period in my career, maybe a year, 2 or 3, where I wasn't exercising at all. I was tired constantly. Motivation was low. My focus was foggy. I thought it was the job, but it wasn't the job. I started going for runs 3 times a week. Simple, no gym membership, no equipment, just running. Within 3 weeks, my energy levels were different. My ability to focus for long periods came back. I slept better. Now look, I'm not going to tell you to run a marathon, but your brain runs out your body. If your body is running on empty, your brain is too, and your performance at work, your ability to debug hard problems, to stay focused, to handle stressful sprints, all of that has a physical component. A car with dirty oil eventually breaks down. Change your oil. So, look, AI is real. The pressure is real. I'm not going to pretend it isn't. But here is what I've come to believe after 8 years. The developers who get replaced are the ones who stopped growing. They found their comfort zone and stayed there. They stopped asking questions, stopped learning, stopped caring about quality. And yes, for those people, AI is a threat. The developers who thrive, they use tools available. They care deeply about the quality of their work. They understand their business domain. They keep learning. They take care of themselves. They show up prepared. None of the things I talked about today are magic. They're just habits. And habits are something anyone can build. Pick 2 or 3 of these. Start this week. Not all 10, just 2 or 3. Build from there. You're not going to be replaced by AI. But you might be replaced by another developer who does all these things better than you currently do. The good news, that developer can be you. Thanks for watching. If this was useful, drop a like and subscribe. It generally helps this channel reach more people who need it. And let me know in the comments, is AI going to substitute programmers and how to be concurrent on the market and save our jobs? Bye.